Dandy escapes from marriage. Chapter 38. Although Lu Shu frequented brothels, in reality, he was still quite naive. Kissing was something he had no experience in, but apparently, it didn't require much experience to figure it out, and the results were somewhat unexpected. Unexpected accelerated heartbeats, unexpected dizziness, unexpectedly wanting to hold each other tight. Their chests pressed together. He could also feel the other gradually losing control. It was a novel sensation and addictive. Suddenly, there was a clatter nearby. The gold and silver jewelries in Hui Shang's hands fell to the ground one after another. Oh dear, don't waste things. Zhang Moyang crouched down to pick them up. Hui Shang stared blankly and followed suit. He asked as he crouched down, "What are they doing?" "Kissing, can't you see? Aren't they good brothers? Can't good brothers kiss?" Hui Shang covered his mouth in disbelief, "But they said I'm their good brother, too." "Hee, we're good brothers, too. Do you want to try that?" Zhang Moyang chuckled. "No need, no need." Hui Shang found it hard to believe. He had finally come to believe that these two were just simple brothers despite their excessive closeness, only for them to kiss right in front of him. It was infuriating. "Are they done kissing?" Hui Shang couldn't even bring himself to look up. As soon as Zhang Moyang looked up, he saw Shen Cao leading Lu Shu away and said, "Let's go, they probably find us annoying." But just a few steps away, Lu Shu suddenly turned back, took the gold and silver jewelries back, and held the heap of items to Shen Cao, then said, "Ah Cao, look, we can live a good life now." Shen Cao's face was no longer tear-stained. He habitually patted Lu Shu's head, but this time he caressed his cheek as he gently said, "These are stolen goods. We can't take them. We have to return them to their rightful owners." Lu Shu felt struck by lightning. He reluctantly looked at the treasures in his hands. "So much, we can't take any." Unable to bear seeing him look so pitiful, Shen Cao reached out and hugged him, patting his back to comfort him. "These things don't belong to us, but Xiao Wu, I promise you, I'll make sure you live well. When that time comes, you can have whatever you want, okay? Why did you take away my lines?" "I was thinking of using these things to make your life more comfortable." Lu Shu looked up, smiling, "All right, since you don't want them, I won't take them." Shen Cao smiled gently at him. He had always known that his Xiao Wu had some bad habits but was very obedient, a young man who was very kind and easy to love. "Can I hug you again?" Lu Shu's eyes curved, "I like it when you hug me." Well, he was also straightforward and passionate, making one's heart beat faster. But there was no time to hug properly, there were still many things to deal with. "What about Miss Chen? Why haven't we seen her?" Shen asked. "She went with me to grab the hidden money." As soon as he said this, Chen Yinglian ran over from the other side. Lu Shu just came out with his hands full of gold and silver jewelry, but she was amazing. She immediately wrapped up 2 bundles, her face slightly excited. This lady will never have to worry about food and clothing in her next life. Lu Shu glanced awkwardly at her, wondering what expression she would have when she learned that these things would be confiscated later. 15 minutes later, Chen Yinglian was rolling her eyes at Shen Cao. Lu Shu could only help persuade her, "Don't be angry, don't be angry. These things originally belonged to others, and we have to return them. Rest assured, I've made friends with you. In the future, when these things are fully replenished, I won't withhold a single bit from you." Chen Yinglian naturally wouldn't believe his nonsense, but there were so many officials and soldiers here. She couldn't really take away these stolen goods. After cleaning up here and taking the bandits down the mountain, it was almost dawn when they returned to the yamen. Lu Shu was so sleepy, he was yawning repeatedly. Shen Cao asked him to go back to the inn to rest first, while he went to the yamen to handle the remaining matters. After a good sleep, Lu Shu felt a bit hungry. As Lu Shu dressed, he touched the pendant on his chest. Having been away for so long, he needed to find the time to go home and let Ah Cao meet his parents. Thinking of this, he smiled again. His parents would surely like Ah Cao. Not just because he was handsome but also because he could read and write, something his father admired the most. Just as Shen Cao sent a letter to his eldest brother, Lu Shu came over carrying a few steamed buns. "Did you sleep well? Have you rested?" Lu Shu asked. "I just finished interrogating the bandits. We managed to redeem the girls who were sold to the brothels," Shen Cao replied. "They still plan to sell the other girls to someone else. Did they find out who the buyers were?" Shen Cao glanced at the Yamen staff master, who broke into a cold sweat. "About that, I really have no idea. It's the county magistrate." Him. While somewhat surprised, Shen Cao wasn't entirely taken aback. He had long suspected that the county magistrate wasn't a good person. His failure to catch the bandits for 2 or 3 years likely meant he was incompetent. He just hadn't expected him to be colluding with the bandits. The county magistrate had not returned yet, and it wasn't clear if he had fled upon hearing something or had already been detained by the prefect. Shen Cao detailed all the events in a letter, also inquiring about the situation with his eldest brother. The bandits were temporarily held in the prison, and the girls were safely escorted back to their homes. The stolen goods were returned to the villagers who had reported the case. Only then did they finally could catch their breath. Back at the inn, Shen Cao lay down immediately and soon fell into a deep sleep in exhaustion. Concerned not to disturb his rest, Lu Shu went to visit the Zhang siblings at their home. Having just woken up from a long nap, Zhang Moyang was having his meal. Seeing Lu Shu arrive, he instinctively glanced behind him. "Are you here alone?" "Yeah, Ah Cao is still asleep." Lu Shu sat down and picked up a few peanuts to eat. "Want to go drinking tonight?" "I rarely accomplish something big, let's celebrate," Zhang Moyang said excitedly. Thinking Shen Cao would likely sleep for a while, Lu Shu agreed and added, "Invite Yinglian too, she said she can handle her liquor." "All right. I want to go, too." Zhang Moshan, who had been quietly drinking tea, suddenly spoke up. Both Zhang Moyang and Lu Shu were surprised. Zhang Moyang asked in confusion, "Can you drink?" "I want to try." That night, the 4 of them dined at a restaurant. Chen Yinglian had an exceptional capacity for alcohol. She even managed to knock Zhang Moyang down and could keep up with Lu Shu. Zhang Moshan drank less, but her cheeks were flushed. She gushed admiringly, "Miss Chen has such a good capacity for alcohol, truly unconventional. I've been drinking since I was young, for courage. It can also warm you up in winter," Chen Yinglian chuckled. "I heard your archery skills are excellent, you even shot the bandit leader," Zhang Moyang said. "That was Xiao Wu's shot," Chen Yinglian replied, looking at Lu Shu. "I was going to ask if you, young man, want to go hunting with us. If I have time, I'll join. But I doubt I can make a living from hunting." He recalled the rabbits they had caught and released, then turned to Zhang Moshan. "I thought of another business. Would you like to join me?" "What business?" "I want to open a rouge shop, but I need capital for renting a shop, buying materials, and hiring staff." "So, you basically have no capital at all?" Zhang Moyang burped, clearly drunk. "But I have the skill," Lu Shu said. The Lu family had grown so prosperous, thanks in no small part to his mother's assistance. After she married into the Lu family, she expanded their original business by opening a rouge shop and developed several unique rouge products that became very popular. Almost every household in Jinling used the Lu family's rouge. Initially, he had visited brothels just to see the most beautiful girls and how they used his mother's rouge. However, he became fascinated by their songs. He had observed his mother making the product by hand and secretly studied it for a while. However, he always liked to change the formula. When his mother found out, she kicked him out, saying a man shouldn't play with such things. "You can make rouge, too." Zhang Moyang almost fell off his chair. Is it that surprising? Young people like to play with flowers, and they can play with anything. Your rouge is expensive and rough. We can sell better quality and cheaper. We actually have a vacant shop, Zhang Moshan said, but can you really make rouge? I'll bring some finished products in a few days. After they settled their agreement, they lightly clinked glasses. As the glass neared his lips, he paused and looked up at Zhang Moshan. Before we collaborate, there's something I want to tell you. What is it? Well, it's about my... Yelling tipsily, Zhang Moyang suddenly blurted out. He kissed Cao Shen. After clinking glasses, Zhang Moshan was momentarily stunned while Chen Yinglian spilled her drink, and the two girls looked at him in astonishment. He coughed awkwardly, his face burning as he spoke with forced calmness, if you mind. I don't mind. Zhang Moshan lowered her eyes and smiled lightly after a while. Since he rejected me, his affairs are no longer my concern. Right now, I just want to break free from constraints and live more freely. That's good. Lu Shu downed his drink and raised his glass with a smile. Here's to us living freely. After another 3 rounds of drinks, they each went their separate ways. Lu Shu returned to the inn with unsteady steps. After pushing open the door, he saw the person lying on the bed, and only then did he realize that he should quietly close the door and silently walk to the bed. Shen Cao heard the whispering sound and slowly opened his eyes, turning his head to look at Lu Shu, who was squatting beside the bed, his brows and eyes slightly moving. Did you go out for a drink? Yet. Lu Shu's hands were folded with his elbows above the bed and his hands supporting his chin. His eyes seemed to sparkle with light as he smiled at him. What are you smiling at? Shen Cao turned sideways, propped his head on his arm, and his lips unconsciously curled up. As soon as I came back, I saw you and felt happy. Me, too. Shen Cao raised his hand and touched his burning cheek. How much did you drink? Not much. Shen Cao chuckled. Ah Cao, are you still sleepy? Are you hungry? A bit. What do you want to eat? Lu Shu asked. Shen Cao remained silent for a moment, staring into his clear eyes. Even in such dim light, it seemed he could see his own reflection inside them. Do you want to eat anything? Lu Shu asked again. I'll go get it for you. Before he could finish speaking, a hand suddenly pressed against his head. His gaze met the gradually approaching thin lips, and once they touched, the air became warm and humid. Ah Cao. After who knew how long had passed, Shen Cao listened to his murmuring voice, loosened his grip, his eyes flickering, and smiled. What's wrong? My legs are numb, so numb. Can I go to bed now? End chapter. Dandy escapes from marriage. Chapter 39. Lu Shu's legs were indeed feeling numb. He stood up, leaned on the bed and pounded his legs, then he paced back and forth. It took a while before he felt better. Still numb? Shen Cao got out of bed and asked. It's much better now. Lu Shu reached out, hooked his neck and looked up with a smile. Let's continue. Rumble. Looks like you're not just a bit hungry. Lu Shu looked down at his stomach, pulled him to the table, and took out the pastries they had packed from the restaurant earlier. I guessed you'd be hungry. The kitchen staff are probably all asleep by now. Have some of these to fill your stomach. Okay. Shen Cao started eating cloud cakes, while Lu Shu propped his head up and watched him eat. After Shen Cao finished eating and filled his stomach, he fell asleep on the table. Xiao Wu. Lu Shu responded groggily but couldn't resist his drunkenness and fell asleep completely. The next day, he woke up alone in the room. There were several hot buns on the table, with a note underneath. I've gone to the yamen. Remember to have breakfast. Lu Shu opened the window. Groups of people were bustling on the street, and the bright sunlight shone on his face. He was in a great mood, nibbling on the buns and listening to the chatter of passers-by. Just as he finished the last bite of the bun, he saw a familiar figure in the crowd, Yu Qiaohui, with her parents, heading towards the yamen. He tidied up and set off to the yamen to check on Shen Cao, then he had to attend to official business. Inside the yamen, Yu Qiaohui and her family were expressing their gratitude to Shen Cao and inquiring about the whereabouts of the others who had been rescued, wanting to thank them as well. Shen Cao looked up and smiled, "He's here." Yu Qiaohui turned her head and saw the young man striding in. For a moment, she didn't react to him, so he greeted her first, "Did you rest well at home?" That voice. Yu Qiaohui looked at him in surprise for a while, blushing as she praised, "I didn't recognize you because you look so handsome." "It's normal not to recognize me." Lu Shu smiled and looked at the person who could recognize him at a glance. "How long will you be busy?" "I'll be questioning the bandits." "Then you'll probably be busy for a while, I'll come back later." After Lu Shu finished speaking, he left first. He found Chen Yinglian and took her outside the city to pick flowers, which were the materials for making rouge. Chen Yinglian knew the terrain well and knew where to find what he needed. She was also skilled and could handle hunting along the way. After a day's work, both of them made significant gains. As they returned to the city, they attracted quite a bit of attention. A tall man, holding so many flowers, and a robust woman, carrying bloody animal carcasses. People whispered and pointed at them as they passed by. But these two didn't care at all. After saying goodbye to each other, Lu Shu returned to the inn. As soon as he entered the room, he smelled a fragrant scent. "Roast chicken. Where did you go?" Shen Cao turned around and asked. "I went to pick flowers." Lu Shu took a few steps forward, tucked the red and blue flowers in his arms, and eagerly opened the roast chicken on the table. "I'm starving. Eat quickly." After Shen Cao finished speaking, he looked down at the flowers and asked, "What are you going to do with these flowers?" "I'm planning to do a little business and sell rouge." Lu Shu ate roast chicken while explaining his plan, "But I lack capital and connections, so I partnered with Zhang Moshan." "How much money do you need?" Shen Cao asked. "I need to see the shop first to know. The main difficulty is how to get us started." Shen Cao estimated the money he had left from selling the paintings, which should be enough to open a shop for him. But how could he give the money to him? "Xiao Wu, actually, What's wrong?" "About the money, you." Just as he was about to say not to worry, someone came to find him outside the door. The Yamen staff master hurriedly knocked on the door. "Young Master K, the magistrate has come. Please come over." "Didn't you just write to him yesterday? He's here so soon? Is he Chow Chow?" Lu Shu exclaimed in surprise. "Perhaps he set off early." Shen Cao stood up. "I'll go over first." "Go ahead." Asterisk asterisk asterisk. There were more guards at the Yamen gate. Shen Hui sat in the hall, flipping through the old books. "Lord Shen, Master Cao has arrived," the Yamen staff master said respectfully, glancing at the figure sitting in the hall, a young man who had ascended to the position of magistrate at such a young age, indicating his significant backing. "Greetings to Lord Shen." Shen Cao bowed his head respectfully. Shen Hui smiled mysteriously and looked at him with interest, finding his appearance quite amusing, so he observed him for a while longer. The fact was, these two brothers didn't resemble each other much, with one took after their mother while the other after their father. Their personalities were very different, too. Shen Hui was the eldest son of the family, accompanying his father in and out of the house from a young age, having learned the art of diplomacy early on and having been influenced by his father's authority. Shen Cao, on the other hand, was much milder. Born prematurely and in poor health as a child, he spent much of his early years at home, keeping company with books and causing no trouble at all. Sometimes Shen Hui deliberately provoked and bullied him, but he never seemed to get angry, lacking the mischievousness expected of his age, which was rather dull. If someone his age bullied Shen Cao, Shen Hui would often watch to see if he would get angry, but he always remained as calm as a smiling Buddha. However, children from prestigious families in the capital mostly knew each other and dared not bully each other too much. There was once a child from out of town who managed to mock Shen Cao miserable. He vaguely remembered it as it was over a decade ago when a family of 3 came to visit, reportedly from Jinling, though they didn't say why they had come. The child was very cute and was about the same age as Shen Cao. He was about 4 or 5 years old then, just at the age when they love cats and dislike dogs. When the adults were discussing serious matters, they let these 2 children accompany each other to play in the backyard. At that time, Shen Hui was reading in his room and saw through the window that the child from out of town was pulling the flowers in the courtyard one moment, kicking the trees the next, unable to sit still at all. Shen Cao followed him and nagged, "Don't pull the flowers, don't kick the trees, okay? As the saying goes, a flower for a world, a leaf for a Bodhi." Annoying. "Don't recite these things to me, or I'll go crazy." The child covered his ears and ran away. Shen Cao was afraid he would run away, so he chased after him. The 2 ran around the courtyard for more than a dozen laps until they were unable to run anymore, panting heavily and gasping for breath. The little boy even took out a purse and threw it at him. "Shut up, and all this money will be yours." "It's not mine, I don't want it." Shen Cao threw the purse back. Rarely did he encounter a peer, so he invited him, "Do you want to come to my room to play?" "What are we playing?" The little boy's eyes lit up. "Read. Get lost. If you mention books to me again, I'll beat you." "Why? Reading is fun. You can learn." Before he could finish, the child kicked him, leaving Shen Cao stunned. Shen Hui saw this and finally couldn't sit still anymore. It was the first time that he had seen someone dare to start a fight in their house. However, when he approached, he found that the 2 were evenly matched. Wow! He watched his younger brother panting and fighting with someone, feeling inexplicably amused. In the end, the 2 children stood there with bruised faces and were asked by their elders to apologize to each other. Shen Cao obediently apologized. The little boy stopped looking around and with embarrassment and guilt, raised his chin. "It's okay, I'm sorry, too." Afterward, Shen Hui was also scolded for not taking care of his younger brother, but at the time he said, "Don't you think you're coddling Ah Cao too much?" This matter may not be remembered by children aged 4 or 5, but he was deeply impressed. Perhaps because it was the first and only time he saw his brother got angry and fight with somebody. Later, that child never came again. Shen Cao mentioned it a few times at first, but later he never talked about it again. As he grew older, he gradually forgot about it. Shen Hui set aside his memories and looked at the person standing in the hall, who had been under his nose all along, seeming not to notice anything. Separated for most of the past half-year, he discovered that his gentle brother had undergone some changes. He smiled slightly. "You've handled the bandit issue well." Shen Cao smiled lightly, "This credit doesn't belong to me but to my friends." He then recounted the process in detail. After listening, Shen Hui nodded, "Good, I'll reward them accordingly. But for now, let's bring County Magistrate Fang up." In no time, the subordinates brought County Magistrate Fang forward, along with the bandit's second boss and the elderly man named Qi. They were interrogated for over an hour before County Magistrate Fang confessed. Those several abducted women were originally intended to be gifted to the new magistrate. County Magistrate Fang was also imprisoned for forcibly seizing some village women. Although the Yamen staff master didn't know about County Magistrate Fang's private dealings with the bandits to buy stolen goods and women, he had followed the county magistrate in his mischief and was dismissed and investigated. After handling these matters, it started to get dark. Shen Hui invited Shen Cao to dinner, as they hadn't been able to have a meal together since they met a few days ago. "You've got quite the appetite," Shen Hui laughed. "It's okay." Shen Cao took a few bites but couldn't help looking outside. "What's wrong? Is someone waiting for you?" "Yeah, I wonder if he's eaten." Is it the friend who helped you catch the bandits? Invite him to join us for dinner, I'd like to meet him, too. All right. Shen Kao put down his bowl and was about to go find the person. Suddenly, he remembered something and reminded himself, I've been hiding my identity all this time and didn't let them know about our relationship. I plan to find a good opportunity to be honest with them. What exactly are your relationship with them, young Master K? Shen Kao smiled. Sit down, let's eat well. It's rare for us to be together. Let the servants go find him, Shen Hui said. Shen Kao turned to his attendant and said, please go to the Yunlei Inn and find someone named Xiao Wu. Before long, the attendant returned and reported, young Master Xiao Wu is drinking with his friends and apologized for not coming to see the Lord Magistrate. He asks young Master Cao to take his time eating and enjoy the meal. Is your friend is not giving you face? Shen Hui chuckled. Is he out drinking with Zhang Moyang again? Shen Cao asked. The servant scratched his head. I don't know what his friend's name is. All right. Shen Cao finished his meal with a heavy heart, wanting to find Xiao Wu but reluctant to end the reunion meal with his elder brother. Late that night, Shen Cao returned to the inn. After washing up, he waited for a while before Lu Shu returned. Lu Shu came back smelling of alcohol, looking silly as he looked at him. Why are you still up so late? Waiting for me. Shen Cao glanced at him lightly. Why are you drinking again today? Just drinking, no need for reasons, Lu Shu chuckled. Is it with Zhang Moyang again? Yet. Lu Shu stumbled and sat down beside him. Let me rest for a while, just a while. Shen Cao sat still. Seeing him about to fall back, he hugged his back and asked, do you prefer to drink with Zhang Moyang rather than eat with me? No, not at all, Lu Shu swayed, leaning his head forward and resting it on Shen Cao's shoulder as he mumbled in a daze, I just don't want to meet the magistrate. Why? I don't like government officials. They are very annoying. No need to worry. The Lord Magistrate is not a stickler for formalities, Shen Cao smiled. Oh. Would you like to have dinner with him tomorrow? No. Why not? I don't know him, what's the point of having dinner with him? I don't want to know officials, it's annoying. Lu Shu said, getting a bit upset with his cheeks puffing up roundly. Shen Cao felt his head ache a bit. In his family of 4, 2 were already officials. What could he do? You shouldn't be so absolute with your words. There are still good officials. You can take your time to understand them. Why should I understand what they do? What's it to me? Shen Cao, ... He have a point there. Shen Cao looked at his drunken appearance and tentatively asked, what if I were a young master from a prestigious family? Would you be annoyed with me, too? He ha ha, Lu Shu laughed awkwardly, if you were a young master from a prestigious family, then I'd be a rich young master. All right, go to sleep. Neither of them believed each other's nonsense. End chapter. Dandy escapes from marriage. Chapter 40. The next day, Lu Shu sat up on the bed with his mind still foggy. After yawning a few times and rubbing his temples, his mind began to clear up a bit. He squinted as he got out of bed. Shen Cao sat by the window, looking up at him as he clumsily dressed and washed up. Though his body was up, his spirit was still not quite there. Shen Cao couldn't help but chuckle, if you're tired, go back to sleep for a bit. What time is it? Lu Shu yawned, sitting opposite him and reaching for the steamed bun on the table, eating it bite by bite. It's 1:15 noon. So late already. Lu Shu suddenly woke up. I remember you said last night that the magistrate wanted to see us to give us rewards. Yet. Well then, what are we waiting for? Hurry up. Lu Shu dropped the bun and pulled him out the door. When they arrived at the Yamen, Zhang Moyang, Hui Shang and Chen Yinglian had already been there for a while, each receiving their respective rewards. Zhang Moyang received 100 taels of silver, Hui Shang got a few Buddhist scriptures, and Chen Yinglian pleaded for the magistrate's help in divorcing her husband while still keeping all the betrothal gifts with her. Apologies Lord Shen, I'm late. Lu Shu smiled awkwardly, looking at the magistrate who was sitting in the hall with a somewhat surprised expression. He was quite different from the fat-headed image he had imagined, as the Lord Magistrate was actually so young and quite handsome. Zhang Moyang quietly moved to his side and whispered, "Make your greeting first." Oh. Lu Shu reluctantly complied. He hated this kind of formalities the most. Why did he have to bow his head before speaking every time? Could bowing his head several times really contribute to the prosperity of the country? Greetings to Lord Shen. He quickly made a gesture with his hands and speak in a polite manner. If the magistrate asked why he didn't kneel, he would say that a good man only kneels to the heaven, earth, and one's parents. But Lord Shen didn't give him a chance to say that. He didn't seem to care about etiquette issues at all. Instead, he looked at him curiously for a moment, then with an appreciative tone said, "Are you Xiao Wu?" Yes. Lord Shen suddenly felt that he was somewhat familiar, but for a while he couldn't remember where he had seen him before. He just stared at his handsome face and said with a pleasant tone, "You've made quite a contribution in capturing the bandits this time. What do you want? Can I ask for anything I want?" Lu Shu's eyes lit up. "No, of course not." Lu Shu's mouth immediately drooped. "If you ask for a ton of gold, where do you think I'll get it for you?" Wow, how could this person guess this? "So, take a look at what they've got and figure out what I can give you," Lord Shen said. Lu Shu scanned their rewards one by one, and suddenly his eyes lit up, saying, "I don't need gold or silver, or Buddhist scriptures. I just want to ask Lord Shen for a favor." "What favor?" "I want you to act as a matchmaker for me. I want to marry someone." "Oh." Lord Shen smiled slowly, "I didn't expect you to be such a romantic. Who do you want to marry? Tell me about it." "I want to marry him." Lu Shu pointed his finger at Shen Cao. Lord Shen's smile suddenly widened, ... He immediately looked at Shen Cao and asked, "What did he say, again?" "He said he wants to marry me," Shen Cao coughed lightly and repeated. "Lord Shen, I really didn't heard it wrong. But why? Why? Regarding this marriage matter, I'm afraid that I can't help with it." Lord Shen finally calmed down after a long time, posing as an honest official and not able to act as a matchmaker. "Other than this, what else do you want?" Lu Shu sneered and finally chose 100 taels of silver. After receiving the silver, he couldn't help but complain to Shen Cao in a low voice, "This Lord Shen is really not good. He can't do anything and yet he proudly talked big. If I had known, I would have directly asked for 100 taels from the beginning. He let me expect a lot of things for nothing. What do you think?" Shen Cao, ... Shen Cao tried to salvage his brother's image. The matter of marriage is indeed not something he can decide, it's not child's play after all. You and I are mutually fond of each other, where's the child's play in it? Or do you think marrying me is a child's play? This time the disaster pointed to himself. "No, what I mean is, we both still have standing engagements, and this matter can't be decided by others for us," Shen Cao said softly. Lu Shu was stunned and blinked nervously. "You're right." He thought that the two of them hadn't had a chance to talk about his engagement, yet. "Well, I think the matter is done and everyone should return home. Cao Shen, have a talk with me. I still have matters I need to discuss with you." Shen Hui walked away. Several of them thought they were going to talk about public affairs, so they left together. Shen Cao knew what he wanted to talk about. He followed him and closed the door to speak. "Tell me, what's going on between you and that Xiao Wu?" Shen Hui looked at him softly. "I met him in the countryside where he had no place to stay, so I took him in. Initially, it was out of kindness, but unexpectedly, feelings grew between us as we spent more time together, Shen Kao replied succinctly. What about your engagement then? I will break it off. Shen Kao looked up at him. Dagur, can you help me? What do you want me to do? Shen Hui glanced at him. Help me deliver a letter. With your men and horses, it will be faster. Just that. Do you think one letter will persuade our parents to break the engagement? Besides, it wouldn't sound good if this matter spreads, Shen Hui remarked. If one letter won't do, then I'll write 2 more. I can send one every day. Shen Hui looked at him in surprise. Where did you learn this rebellious attitude? Rebellious? Isn't this clearly perseverance paying off? Shen Kao smiled. Nonsense. As for reputation, do you really think our family will be harmonious if I marry someone I barely know? It might sound worse if that gets out. This is damage control, Shen Kao said slowly. Shen Hui remained silent for a long while before suddenly asking, Are you set on him? I see he has a bit of a roguish air about him which can be seen as carefree or, let's not go there. Setting aside whether our parents will approve, do you think he'll fit into our Shen family? Why does he need to fit into our Shen family? Shen Kao asked. Shen Hui was taken aback, observing him for a while. Suddenly, he realized that Shen Kao wasn't arguing, he was simply curious, as if he hadn't considered the idea of the other entering the Shen family, or perhaps. You're not thinking of marrying out, are you? What I mean is, we can move out of the estate. Sister-in-law and Ning Er live in the Shen family residence and it's a bit inconvenient for us 2 grown men to live together with them. It'd be better if we moved out. What about if I move out? Wouldn't that solve the problem? Since you and they can move out, why can't we move out too? You rascal! Shen Hui never imagined there would come a time when he couldn't win an argument against this block of wood. As for our parents not approving, I will persuade them to agree. What if persuasion doesn't work? If it doesn't work, then so be it. You can't force matters of the heart. Hey! Can't force matters of the heart? Shen Hui asked, have you never thought about having him change? Our parents don't look down on poor boys, they just expect a few adjustments in certain aspects. No need. I like him just the way he is now. If I change him into what our parents like, then who will give me back the real Xiao Wu? Shen Kao said. Shen Hui was truly at a loss. He couldn't win this argument at all. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. While Lu Shu and Zhang Moyang were dining together, they had just taken a drink when Shen Kao returned. Lu Shu quickly made space, nudging Hui Shang aside and patting the seat. Come, sit here. After Shen Kao sat down, he glanced lightly at the wine glasses in front of Lu Shu and Zhang Moyang. Is everything settled? Lu Shu asked. Yeah. That's good then. These officials are such a bother, interrupting people's meals. Let's eat. Lu Shu served him a bowl of rice, noticing his somber mood. After a moment's thought, he spoke up, actually, about my engagement. Shen Kao turned his head, staring at him intently, waiting for him to continue. It was arranged by my parents without my knowledge. They made the agreement with another family but I didn't want to marry a stranger, so I ran away. Shen Kao nodded. At their age, it wasn't uncommon for people to either already be married or engaged, so he understood why someone might want to escape from an engagement. I also had an engagement once, Zhang Moyang suddenly joined in. The others glanced at him and he continued, unfortunately, the girl broke off the engagement and married an official instead. What a pity, she missed out on someone as handsome and charming as me. See, there are so many people with engagements, Shen Kao thought to himself. Hui Shang added, actually, Everyone suddenly looked at him, their expressions shocked. I need to go to the restroom. Hui Shang stood up and left. Everyone, Ignore him, let's drink. Zhang Moyang resumed pouring wine for Lu Shu. They didn't drink much at lunch since they all had things to do in the afternoon. Feeling energized, Lu Shu followed Shen Kao back to the inn and asked, "Now that everything's settled, when are we going home? You want to go back already?" Shen Kao smiled. "Yet. You have no idea, the chickens at home have started laying eggs." Lu Shu's eyes twinkled with delight, his face beaming. "Really? Sounds like I've missed quite a bit," Shen Kao replied. "Yeah, and the pomelo tree has survived. In that case, we should go back and take a look." Shen Kao thought about his older brother and added, "Let me go say goodbye to Lord Shen first." "When did you become so close to him?" Lu Shu suddenly asked. "Is he quite handsome?" Shen Kao nodded. "And successful at such a young age?" "Yet. Do you like him?" "Yet." Lu Shu gasped in shock, his heart sinking. His expression turned bleak. Shen Kao immediately realized the misunderstanding and said helplessly, "Not that kind of like, just admiration." "You admire him?" Lu Shu felt even more heartbroken. Shen Kao chuckled, his daughter is already 4 years old, and he's very loving towards his wife. "Oh, that's good then." Lu Shu instantly perked up again. Shen Kao went to the yamen to bid farewell to Shen Huai and also wrote a letter of breaking off his engagement and asked him to help deliver it to the capital. "I come to town every day. During the day, I help others transcribe books at the Yunlei Inn. If you need anything, just come find me," Shen Kao said. "You're actually transcribing books now?" Shen Huai couldn't believe it, looking at Shen Kao's worn-out clothes. "I can't imagine how you've managed to survive. Barely scraping by and eating frugally. I almost cried and went back home to you guys, but luckily Xiao Wu appeared just in time," Shen Kao joked. Shen Huai couldn't hold back a chuckle. "All right, someday I'll visit your village and see what kind of life you've been living." "Well, there's really nothing special to show you," Shen Kao replied awkwardly. "In that case, I definitely have to visit," Shen Huai chuckled. Shen Kao and Lu Shu leisurely returned to the village from the town. As the sun set in the west, they could still see villagers working in the fields, and they greeted them from afar. Lu Shu inexplicably felt like he had been living here for a long time, witnessing others' crops slowly growing. He couldn't help but sigh, "Life here is really good." "You don't want to leave?" Shen Kao glanced at him. "Yet." Lu Shu carried some jars and bottles, filled with half-finished goods. Despite that, he began envisioning the days ahead, no longer living aimlessly but busy and settled. "I plan to start a small business here." Shen Kao pursed his lips and casually remarked, "Starting a business requires capital. Have you thought about where to get the money? Zhang Moyang and the others will help out." "We've already discussed it." Shen Kao's expression faltered slightly. He looked down at the road and remained silent. Although Zhang Moyang is a bit unconventional, when it comes to his sister, he's reliable. Whatever his sister wants to do, he'll support her, Lu Shu praised his friend. But after waiting a while for a response and seeing Shen Kao's unresponsive demeanor, he turned to look at him. He suddenly recalled that these past few days, Shen Kao seemed indifferent towards Zhang Moyang. Even at the dinner table today, although they sat together, they hadn't exchanged a word. "Did you have a falling out with Zhang Moyang? Or maybe you just don't like him?" Lu Shu asked curiously. "I don't like him," Shen Kao replied bluntly. "Why not?" "He's a dandy, living recklessly." Lu Shu felt like a dagger had pierced his heart. He quickly looked away, silently relieved that he hadn't confessed to Shen Kao about his real identity. He might be a bit unruly, but he's not without his merits. "I find him much more interesting than Lord Shen today. Scholars are all about being particular." Shen Kao's heart tightened. As a scholar himself, he couldn't help but reflect. Indeed, he and his brother had similar traits. "But Ah Kao, you don't have those flaws," Lu Shu chuckled, praising him without reservation. "You're great. Despite being a bit poor, you're educated and courteous. You bent down to farm, dig, cook, feed chickens, fertilize the land. They're not things I've seen many scholars do. It's out of necessity. It doesn't matter. Effort always pays off. I like seeing you work hard. If you were born into wealth, you might not be able to do all this. You probably wouldn't be the cow I like," Lu Shu continued to praise. After hearing these words, Shen Cao only had one thought in his mind, that was close. "I almost revealed my real identity." End chapter.